Okay, for the project for this week, it's going to be essentially identical to last week. The difference is rather than using GarageBand, we're going to switch over to BandLab. That way we can kind of see the differences. If you've never created a BandLab account, this is how you do it. Okay, and I'm giving you the directions here. You're going to log into not BandLab, BandLab Education. The website looks like this, edu.bandlab. And then once you sign in using your school account, you're going to be asked to join a classroom. So here's the classroom code. Now, why are we doing it this way? We're doing it this way because BandLab used to be 100% free. Now it's not. Now it does require you to pay a membership to have access to all their sample library. But if you do it through education, then you are getting access to most of the features get unlocked without you having to pay. And also, we are a classroom, so there's some features like from the teacher's perspective that makes it kind of simple, because I'm pretty sure you can send your projects over to me, though I've never really done this, so it's kind of a new experience for all of us, I guess. If you feel like it, I'm not so sure. I wanted to do this week, but because I'm going to be out today and I am sick, I feel like I'll be back tomorrow. But in the case that I'm not, I didn't want to start something like totally unique without me actually being there. But if you feel up to it, go ahead and also sign into Suno, which is an AI generated music platform. And feel free to explore with it. You get 3 free creations a day. So, if you mess around with it today, you can kind of see the way it works. We'll use it later on. If not this week, next week. Excuse me. Okay. So, to go into... Oh, I should also say this. I'm going to Safari only because I'm not logged in on Safari, but BandLab works way better with Chrome. I don't know why. It just has a relationship with Chrome. Like if you want to attach, like in the future, if you want to attach like the MIDI keyboards, which we are going to be doing, or if you want to use the interfaces, it just works better on Chrome. Also, the major drawback to BandLab, though it's actually really good and really user friendly, is that it's web based, and so sometimes it messes up. So my recommendation is to use Chrome because that's what it works best on, and then also to save your project like every couple of minutes, because if you let it go without saving, especially if you let it go for longer than 15 minutes to a half hour, it's likely that you will lose everything that you just did. Okay, so make sure you save it, and I'll show you how that works. So, anyways, oh my gosh. From here, you're going to start as a student, and it's going to ask you to log in with a classroom, and then it will prompt you to log in with, all of the, with your credentials. But use your school email. Make it easy. If you mess up, I can delete you, and then we can start again. Okay? But use your school stuff. That way don't create a new password or anything like that. It makes it nice and easy. So I gave you the classroom code, which is right here. Okay, now, once you are in, it will look a little something like this once you are logged into BandLab. So to get a project started, you would go to, there's multiple ways. You can go to library up top and then go to studio, something like that. That works. And then you get yourself a blank project. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. So it'll look something like this. Now, GarageBand and BandLab are pretty much the same thing, but it looks slightly different. This one is black. It still has basically all the same stuff: your tempo and your time signature and your key. It's got the numbers the same way that you would have seen in GarageBand. It has this thing. Our looper in BandLab is red. It's not yellow like it is in GarageBand. And it also has a lot of samples. So what I mean is if you go down here to BandLab Sounds, you get, these are the sample packs. Now it looks a lot different than it does in GarageBand because they're organized in packs rather than just like, you know, a list of things. There is way more options and way more modern options in BandLab, except they're a little bit harder. It's not as intuitive. You can still drag and drop, but you know, it's a little bit harder to find things. So I recommend doing some searching. Either way, let me show you my example that I just did. And I'm going to show you this. See how this is gray? This is, like I said, a drawback to BandLab is I don't know what's going on, but it won't allow me to save even though I already did. But I'm just going to play some of it. And you can kind of see there's a fade out over here. We'll get into the details of certain features, but those of you who like, and I notice a lot of you like to mess around with the volume automation, it's the same thing in BandLab, except they're not yellow. The lines are like, you know, that dotted white. You just press A and you can start inserting dots and move them around. I'm not going to do that. Whoa. What the heck just happened? Okay, like I said, BandLab is, the troubleshoot is that it's web-based and it can mess up. Here's a perfect example. I have no idea what just happened. So I'm not going to save. I'm just going to leave it and hopefully it saved from what, you know, from where I was initially. But for just exploratory, you know, even if you don't get started, you know, I'll show you. Each of these are packs. And so when you press play on them, what you're doing is it's previewing what's inside of them. And then let's say you're like previewing, you're like, okay, I kind of like the way that sounds. I'll try to find something. That's actually pretty cool. So let's say you like the way that sounds. You just click on that pack and then it has all of the different samples, like, you know, and it's essentially just like how it is in GarageBand. These are all what you call, when it says OS is one shot. We don't need to get into that right now, but I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend using loops. Okay, let's say I'm just going to try to build something quickly. Let's say you like that. That does sound pretty cool. Now see, it's at 150 G minor, just like GarageBand. When you choose something to drag in for the first time, it's going to ask you if you'd like to change the key to G minor and say yes, set. And then it also changed the BPM to 150. And you can still like drag. Okay. Now, see how it says springtime G minor? That means that they all kind of go together. I'm going to drag the bass over too. I don't really like the drums. I think they could sound a little cooler. Oh, wow, it's got that whole kind of thing. So let's say I was going to build my track based off of this. Now, that pack was organized like pretty nicely. They're not all like that. Some of them, like, they're kind of like, can be a little confusing. But as an example, now I kind of have something that I could build off of. It's kind of funny. Anyways, like I said, save it as often as you can, okay? I would recommend saving every time you make some sort of decision because it's web-based and sometimes it just messes up, okay? And then as far as like progress and turning things in, I think we'll get to that later. But anyways, goal for the day is create a BandLab education account and sign into our classroom and start exploring some of their sounds. I'll probably do another tutorial because BandLab, what it does have is also has like quite a bit of like stuff that's not like. So it's got tons of stuff. I do think that it's got more like, even though like hip hop and electronic music is good for this, like for samples and stuff, BandLab actually has a lot of like guitar, like rock music. So those of you who are into that kind of stuff, or jazz, or reggae, yeah, I don't think that GarageBand has that. So, and these get updated all the time. Okay, so there's thousands, but you can also search. So let's say like you're just looking for electric guitar. Okay, now you're like, look, there's a bunch of, so, you know, you can make searches so that you're like, you know, we'll get into the details about this probably on another day. Anyways, hope you guys have a good day. I'm sorry I'm out sick.